So part 3 of 90's Christmas, our last sermon of this series. And man, I hope you've enjoyed it as we wrap up this Christmas season and wrap up the year. Most of us know this movie. Maybe you haven't seen it. You ought to go see it. It's hilarious. But most of us know this movie, Jingle All the Way. Jingle All the Way. You ought to watch this. It's a dad named Howard who happens to be Arnold Schwarzenegger, all right? He promised his son that year's Christmas's hottest toy. Does anybody remember what it was called? Turbo Man. It was the Turbo Man action figure. And then he spends Christmas Eve frantically trying to find it. Then what I love about this is that it's very hard. The movie just isn't about a toy. It's about something everyone here has probably felt at some point in their lives. See, what happens is, and I've been there, we chase stuff we think that will solve all the issues in our life, only to discover stuff can't fix it, whatever it is. Are you with me? So let's go deeper than the humor of today, and it will be funny, but let's go deeper than that, and let's go straight to the gospel. I've entitled this message, The Gift You Can't Buy. The Gift You Can't Buy. If you're taking notes, this is in your Grow Notes. I want you to know this morning, we all search for satisfaction we can't find. In the movie, Howard runs from store to store, frantic crowds, frantic shoppers, trying to get this toy before Christmas morning. In fact, guys, if you'll turn the volume up and turn down the lights, play this clip. That's funny. So think about that. Man, well, that was funny, the Sinbad thing. How many of you know who Sinbad is? Were you in the 90s? Okay, those are 90s people right there. But watch the desperation. He's exhausted already, and we're only minutes into the movie. That's the way people live, right? That's the way a lot of people live, especially during these times of years. People chase bigger bank accounts, and there's nothing wrong with bigger bank accounts, everybody. People chase better checks, so there's nothing wrong with wanting to make more money and even get better jobs. Nothing wrong with that. People chase better relationships. They chase better resumes, and nothing wrong with any of that. They chase better reputations. It's okay to have a good reputation. Nothing wrong with that stuff as long as you know what it is and what it isn't. None of that will satisfy your soul. Listen to Jesus in John chapter 4. It says, everyone who drinks of this water will be thirsty again. But whoever drinks of the water that I will give him will never be thirsty again. This is the gospel truth that you probably can't find in a movie, that you won't hear the movie talk about. You can chase things that feel good temporarily, but only Jesus gives satisfaction that lasts forever. Ask anyone in this room, ask your neighbor what they're really craving under the surface, and you'll usually find, yes, hey, sometimes people want a new house, nothing wrong with that. Sometimes people like a new car, nothing wrong with that. Just see John Carpenter right after service, he'll take care of that for you. There's nothing wrong with any of that. But if you ask people what they're really craving under the surface, it's usually not objects, it's usually not clothes, cars, or cottages. It's peace, acceptance, purpose, belonging. And I'm just telling you, those all come from God. Those all come from God, because also in your Grow Notes this morning, trying harder doesn't fix the brokenness. Trying harder doesn't fix the brokenness. As this movie goes on, and this is one of my favorite Christmas movies, as it goes on, Howard becomes more frantic, more desperate, more aggressive, even when his son just wants his time and attention. In fact, check out this clip. It's amazing. So, Howard getting into this fight with Myron, the mailman. He chases the lady with the toy in her car. Here's the truth. Trying harder doesn't fix what's broken. Nothing wrong with trying hard. There's nothing wrong with working hard. There's nothing wrong with being the best you can be. That's our word for 2026. But some of you are here today and you've tried hard. Harder than you've ever prayed, harder than you've ever worked, harder than you've ever tried to be the one who has it all together, and yet you still feel empty. Where does change actually begin? And though we need to put effort into our lives, change does not actually begin with effort, it begins with identity. Because if you know who you are and you know whose you are, then other things begin to fall into place. Isaiah, the prophet Isaiah said in chapter 55, verse 1, "Come, everyone who thirsts, come to the waters, and he who has no money, come buy and eat." You can't buy the satisfaction you're longing for, but God sure invites you to receive it. Isn't that amazing? He doesn't say work for it. He says come. That's grace. Grace is the gift you can't buy because it was bought with a price by Jesus Christ on the cross. And here's the deal. What we think is the gift is not the real gift. Near the end of Jingle All the Way, the Turbo Man toy, the thing Howard believed would fix everything, becomes small in comparison to what his son really wanted, and that was his father's presence. Play this clip. I just gave you the secret. I just gave you the secret to a good marriage. Work out like Pastor Clint or go get you a Turbo Man set, everybody. Whichever one you find easier. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, let me say it clearly. The toy is a symbol. The toy is a symbol, but it's not the thing that heals the heart. This is the gospel. Listen to the angels on the first Christmas. Luke chapter 2, verse 10 and 11 says, "For unto you is born this day in the city of David a Savior, who's Christ the Lord." Jesus didn't come to give you another thing. He came to give you himself. We don't receive things, we receive a person. We don't chase something to fill the emptiness. He fills it himself. We don't earn love. He is love, and he gives it freely. We don't work our way into identity. He calls us sons and daughters when we believe on Jesus Christ. We're adopted sons or daughters. We're adopted by his grace. And God's gifts are not fragile, and they never break. Isn't that good news? Here's what you have to understand this morning. I'm flying through this, so take your grow notes home, but Jesus gives what nothing else can. Everything in that movie, you ought to watch it. Everything in that movie, the scramble, the stress, the exhaustion, is a perfect picture of the lie that things, that possessions, that people, that circumstances can make life worth living. Sure, people improve your life and certain possessions improve your life and all these things that I'm not saying none of this matters to you. You work hard and you get rewarded for your efforts and all these things, but none of this make life worth living. And the world will sell you that lie over and over and over. But God says in Psalm 34, verse 8, "Oh, taste and see that the Lord is good. Blessed is the man who takes refuge in him." Taste and see that the Lord is good. Blessed is the man who takes refuge in him. Everybody say that with me. Say taste and see. Here's what you have to understand. You can't buy peace. You can't buy joy. You can't buy forgiveness. And you can't buy purpose. The Bible doesn't say think and see that the Lord is good. It doesn't say analyze and see that the Lord is good. It doesn't say debate and see that the Lord is good. It says, oh, taste and see that the Lord is good. Blessed is the man who takes refuge in him. How do we taste? Think about that. Taste is experiential. Taste is personal. Taste requires participation. You can know a restaurant exists and still never be fed by it. Are you with me? You can talk about food and still go home hungry. You can watch someone else eat and remain starving. The only way food nourishes you is if you taste it for yourself. And that's how faith works. What do I mean by that? You can't live off your spouse's encounter with God. You can't live off your parents' belief system. You can't even live off your pastor's sermons, everybody. You can't live off someone else's testimony. You got to taste and see what the Lord has for you yourself. Right? Think about if you had a fork right now in your hand. That's kind of what we eat with, isn't it? You put that fork in your hand, but that fork is not the meal, it's what leads you to the meal. The fork doesn't feed you automatically. You got to pick it up. You got to bring it to your mouth. You got to choose to eat what's in front of you. Why am I talking about forks? Because in the same way, God can be present but remain unopened. Jesus can be offered but remain unreceived. Peace can be available but remain untouched until you taste and see. What does taste look like? Opening your Bible tomorrow instead of scrolling. Whispering prayer instead of holding stress. Worshiping when heaviness says stay quiet. Asking Him to meet you and expecting He will. Taste is participation, not observation. And here's what I want you to see. You don't need a whole feast to start. Come on, that comes. But you got to commit your life, especially going into 2026. I'm going to take one bite at a time. I'm going to start small, but I'm going to start now. Come on, every day, would you commit that? If you're new to your faith, every day, would you say, you know what? I got to have at least one moment in His presence. I got to wake up in the morning and I got to pray. I got to get the verse of the day inside of me, and hopefully a little more than that. I got to have one moment of surrender where I surrender everything over to Him in a quiet room. Come on, if you'll start small, your taste will begin to change. Think about that when you go on a diet. You cut out sugar, and then you come back 21, 27, 31 days later, and you don't have the same taste as you used to, right? Your taste changes, right? Because when you become a taste and see follower of Jesus, your life begins to change. Who you are begins to change. You begin to experience conviction, not in a bad way like condemnation, but that says, you know what? I got to do things a little differently. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's how we grow. I had this moment yesterday. I called one of my friends right after it happened. I said, hey, let me ask you a question. Do you know anybody who has had more weird moments at retail stores than I had? And he said, I don't know anybody who's had more weird moments than you've had. Well, that's true. Is Edward here today? Edward and Olivia right here? No? It's going to be so much better if they were. Well, so yesterday I had this moment where I realized, you know what, Josh? You got to get better. It's not about you. And you know what? That's the thing that Christians have to understand. We give our life to Jesus, and yes, He's faithful, and yes, He's graceful, and yes, He's merciful, and yes, He makes things about us. But when we give our life to Jesus, we have this relationship with Him, but this becomes not about us. And what do I mean by that? I mean, when I give my life to Christ, I begin to let Him use me, and my preferences begin to dwindle, and the things I want begin to dwindle and begin to be replaced with what He wants. I was having a weird day yesterday. Not a bad day. I just had a lot to do in a short amount of time. You ever have days like those? It's amazing to me. I've lived in Guthrie for a couple of months. Maybe a couple of months. And now I can't stand being in Oklahoma City or Edmond because of the traffic. I didn't even know we had traffic till I moved here. And now I just love driving 35 miles per hour all across town and being able to get everywhere in 7.5 minutes. That feels good, everybody. I don't drive 36 miles an hour. I don't drive 37 miles an hour. I drive 35 miles an hour because I don't want that Mustang getting me for $350 again. Cut that out of the video. That's not funny. And I love it. And so I'm in Oklahoma City and I'm dealing with all this traffic and I got to do some stuff and I'm just frazzled. And then I had 2 shirts I needed to exchange at Dillard's. And so I thought, man, do I really want to go in this mall the Saturday after Christmas? Well, I want to exchange these shirts. I don't want to have to come back here. So I go in and start looking around, and a guy comes up, and he's got that look. This is going to be weird. I mean, I can tell because it's happened to me so much. It's about to happen. And over the next 30 minutes, he begins to talk to me and talk to me and talk to me. He was the number 1 suit salesman for Joseph A. Banks in the whole nation, but now he works a loading dock at Dillard's. Nothing wrong with that, but he just realizes they haven't seen his talent. But today, they needed somebody to fill in. And they begged him, and he did it. Praise the Lord. So, and I got him. How lucky am I? So he begins to talk to me, and I'm frazzled. I'm trying to exchange shirts, but then I got to try a couple shirts on, and I'm just frazzled. I'll just be honest with you. He is talking and talking and talking. If you're listening to this, God bless you, brother. But he is talking and talking and talking and talking, and he's so friendly and so nice. You know how many people go in and, well, they talk to me too much. Well, you would have griped if they were rude, right? So friendly and nice. But I didn't expect to be there an hour. So finally, I get these shirts I'm exchanging, and I'm frazzled. I go up, and he's like, we got you handled. I said, man, you got me handled. He said, well, I got 15 more minutes on the clock, so if you don't mind, I'm going to take my time folding and wringing out these clothes so I can milk it till I'm done. I didn't think then this was a test. I realized it later. I said, buddy, you just take your time. I got all the time in the world. I don't have anywhere to be. So, he does that and went 2 minutes into overtime. Because he took about 17 or 18 minutes to fold these shirts and put them in a bag and charge my car. And then he says to me the thing I didn't need to happen after being out all day and being frazzled. What do you do? No, Lord, if you wanted me to get him saved, it should have been 45 minutes ago. But I got places to be, so I repent today in front of my church and everybody. Luckily, this doesn't disqualify me, I don't think, but I lied. And I immediately said sales, which is technically true. I am the corporate pastor for the greatest car dealership in America, the John Vance Auto Group. And I'm rationalizing sin right now. You see how easy that is? I just said sales, and I put my head down. He begins to ask me, what do you sell? And I begin to hem-haw around this thing, and I'm self-employed. I don't... Can I just check? Boy, it's been great talking to you. I'm just trying to get out of here. I don't want to tell any more lies, so I'm just mumbling. And so he gives me my receipt. He says, well, have a good day. I said, you too, buddy. I take one step, and I hear, hey, that's our pastor. And I'm going to admit to you, I looked behind me. Where? And these teenagers, Edward, Olivia's brother and his cousin from our church, walk up, hey, you're our pastor. I said, yeah. I said, well, let's walk over here and talk. So we walk over to the aisle of Dillard's. I'm like, good to see you guys. And I cut my eyes to the right and tint from me to those drums. His name's Cameron. He's sitting there just looking at me. So I talk to them and try to keep it low key and love you, appreciate you, hope to see you at church tomorrow. God bless you. And they walk off, and I look at Cameron. He looks at me. See you, buddy. Thanks for your help. And I leave. I got caught lying. Why? Because I thought it was about me. I thought it was about my comforts. I didn't want to tell him what I did. Come on, I'm just admitting to you right now. I didn't want to get in some conversation. I knew one of two things were going to happen. Either he was going to be somebody that thought that was weird and he was going to tell me why, or he was going to tell me his second cousin's a Baptist minister. I mean, I knew that all this, there's two things that were going to happen there, and either way, I was going to get stuck in a longer conversation. But God taught me a lesson. It's not about you. And when you become a taste and see Christian, you start realizing it's not about me. It's about God using me in a world that doesn't know him yet. That's what it's about. Tasting and seeing, realizing not just about me having a moment in his presence, but me helping facilitate other people to have moments in his presence. Not just about me praying, but helping me facilitate other people to be able to pray. Not just about me reading my Bible, but me to be able to help facilitate other people reading their Bible. Not just me surrendering, but me to help facilitate the surrender of others. One taste can change your life. One taste can change your life. Don't just hear about him. Experience him. Don't just watch faith. Participate in it. Don't just observe. Encounter. Because you can't buy peace. You can't buy joy. You can't buy forgiveness. You can't buy purpose. But you can taste and see all that God has bought and paid for already for you. Faith is not a dinner that you watch someone else eat. It's a meal that you got to taste for yourself. Christmas is not just about people who already have it all together. Sure, it's for everybody, but it's not just about people who already have it all together. Christmas is also about people who know they don't. Are you with me? Christmas is for the exhausted. Christmas is for the weary. Christmas is for the empty. Christmas is for the ones who feel like they've been running in circles. And here's what I want to tell you this morning. I believe with all my heart that God is saying you don't have to chase what only I can give. You don't have to run after meaning. You don't have to scramble for peace. You don't have to hustle for acceptance. It's already been given. Worship team, would you come? But you have those moments in life. That embarrassing moment that I just confessed in front of you where I lied to the guy at Dillard's. It turned out pretty funny, I'll admit. I mean, it was a great sermon illustration. But I'm going to go back in there one day, and because of the way the Lord works, He'll be my cashier again, I promise you. And then I'll have to talk to Him about the Lord. Not have to, I'll get to, and we'll see what happens from there. But you have to realize it's just not all about you. It's about you and Him, and then what He's going to use you to do for others. And maybe you're here this morning, you say, I can't even imagine doing something for others because I feel tired. I feel worn out. I'm going to explain something to you this morning. If you want a real gift and not a cheap knockoff, then you've got to taste and see for yourself. And I believe with all my heart that you can receive the gift that cannot be purchased but must be received, and that's Jesus. So I want to leave you with this, and then we're going to worship, and Pastor Meredith's going to come dismiss us. Jesus satisfies what nothing else ever could. And that's what you ought to take out of this Christmas season, that Jesus satisfies what nothing else ever could.